I'm actually a visual artist. I teach at Glasgow School of Art in the painting and printmaking department, but my work tends to be kind of more interdisciplinary. The writing I do and have started to do has been creative non-fiction and more about nature and landscape and place, which is what my visual art is also about.
I mainly write theatre and some poetry and fiction and non-fiction as well.
I'm interested in place and home and belonging and what makes you feel at home. But I'm also interested, I suppose, in nature and wildlife. I love walking and hill walking and bird watching. So these are the kind of things I keep coming back to. But it doesn't necessarily have to be about walking and hill walking and bird watching. It can be about all the different kind of manifestations of place. So I think that's one of the things that's really exciting about Outrider Africa.
Everything that's happened 15 years ago, I've basically wrote about. And so I'm just like going year by year now. So quite autobiographical in a way, but always with a sense of like what's happening now that influences me to think about that time then, I suppose.
I think what's really interesting is when you pull in a whole load of different influences to see what happens with your work after the different influences that you've come across. And I think quite often you don't know what's going to influence you till well after the event, and that can be really exciting as well. I think it's going without preconceptions but going to learn, but you don't quite know what you're going to learn. And it's going to be learn about place and people but also about yourself, and that's kind of quite exciting in a scary way probably, but quite exciting.
Areas of the world that have been colonised and that are still existing in that sort of state of decolonisation, but not really, like in terms of how the society is still stratified, and that's like a whole massive section of the world, not just Southern Africa. But I think it's really important, even more so, to go to those places with an openness and to try and not have a preconceived idea of what you're going there to find out or discover, because obviously that's what we've been given, is like these books or these travel logs from a lot of European people who have kind of done that, and so don't want to do that. It's very different to like meticulously planning like a holiday or a it's not that, it's kind of just like going. And one of the Outriders from last year said she just read a few books about the place before, and then she just went and absorbed everything that everybody was sort of giving her, really, as like their experiences and their take on the place. And she said that was much more useful than like any planning that you could do. So just gonna do that, I reckon. I actually am a like proper city dweller, never lived in the country, don't really spend much time in the rural areas, but love did a trip to the Shetlands and loved that, and so really interested to kind of work with Amanda and know how she sees nature and how she turns that into something that becomes a piece of work. So I'm basically coming to learn from you.
Who wouldn't jump at an opportunity like this to work with somebody completely new, to learn and travel and just put yourself into maybe quite awkward or situations and go to places you would never otherwise have got to. It's all going to be good for your creative process and just who you are as a human.